start the stream. All of it has been started. I always say, Twitch is so fast. Twitch is like ultra
Is it?
fast. YouTube is like
Is
ultra
it?
fast.
Is
Today
it?
is the day. It is a new year. The streaming services were quicker than last year.
Oh no.
What?
Apparently I'm streaming Star Citizen.
But
Oh no. Oh no.
awkward pull of the first time of the year.
Yeah, not this time.
Were we
Today.
No, we weren't streaming. Were we
Today
streaming? No.
is not
Okay.
that day.
Okay. Well, welcome to
Okay.
New Year's, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to the new year.
It's gonna get worse before it gets worse.
Now, maybe for some things, but
Yeah, no.
as far as streaming is concerned, it's only uphill.
It's only gonna get better.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. How's everybody doing?
Good. Finally got home. I was with Anthony for a few days longer than you did, and it was quite the interesting experience.
Heard.
I did you hear all of it?
I heard that Anthony is in pain.
Oh no, that isn't the least of it.
For you.
Well, I mean,
I know that you guys tried to
Yeah.
get up a mountain after the roads had iced over.
we did not try. We succeeded.
Okay, so you guys succeeded in getting up a mountain.
Yes.
What
We had to-
what happened?
Okay. So we woke up and we were like, man, there is a snowstorm. We're gonna have the powder of our lifetime. And we were like, oh man, let's go right after the snowstorm and get up the mountain and be the first people on this powder. And we were all like, beautiful. That's exactly what we should do. And so
He says we. I still feel like it was my fault and my idea. I was like, hey, the snow ends at like 5:30, and the tickets start at 5:30. So like the snow will end right when we're about to go.
Is
Not
that
realizing.
a bad thing or a good thing?
Well, think
for
about it. There's
snowboarding,
a snow.
great.
But there's a snowstorm happening while you're,
Before.
which
Yes.
was not something
Heard.
that really thought about.
Heard. So you guys are driving through this. Oh, continue.
Yeah,
Let
we
me
leave
not
like
get ahead of
3
myself.
like 2 hours ahead of time,
Okay.
and the
Yep.
roads are starting to get covered in snow.
Mm-hmm. And nobody is no snowblow. This is like active.
Very active.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm asking my wife, like, is this normal? Because she actually drives to work. Like, does it usually look like this? Because
He's
It's-
getting nervous.
the road is white, and it's getting whiter. And
Ooh. And she said,
yeah.
"No, no, 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 no. You can't give halfway yeses or nos
Yeah.
during like storms and stuff. No. Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
like constantly asking people in the car what they think. And then we get like 1.5 miles, 2 miles away. We get to the main road because my wife was like, let's just see what the main road looks like. Well, before we got there on off road, we saw like a big truck coming very slowly with all the lights going. We're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead of them. Get to the main road. On the way there, like a quarter of a mile before it, just couldn't see anything. Like literally just like, it wasn't like fog. It was just insane
Snow.
amounts of snow
Yeah.
and I don't know what else.
Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there. I'm like, all right, what do y'all think we should do? And Eric's like, I mean, you can't see. And then I'm like, yeah, my biggest concern is that we're not going to make it up the mountain to the mountain. And then my other biggest concern is if we come back, we're not going to make it up our dirt road to get to home.
Bro. So
So we turn around to go back, decided as a group, still kind of debating about it on the way back. On the way back, on a big bend, that big old truck that we'd seen had slid off the road. It didn't tip, but it had just slid off the road. So we drive by them, and we're on like the second to last, road before our place. And we're like, maybe we should try. I'm like, maybe we should try. Suddenly we fishtail, sliding around a bend. Bonvi goes, that's a sign. No. We're going home.
So
We get to
I don't do this. I don't do this out of spite. But when there is a snowstorm and you guys still choose to get into the car and start driving, that's some white people shit.
Some white people shit. Hey, that's fair.
Oh my god, are you serious? You get into a snowstorm, you're like, no, it'll be fine. We'll just drive there. It'll be cool. No, I know, Anthony. I know you said it's probably a bad idea. You still got in the car.
I didn't want to disappoint everybody else.
You got in the car.
I didn't want to be that guy that said, maybe we shouldn't go.
You had one moment to be the most reasonable person. To be like, hey, I don't want to die.
We'd also already bought our tickets.
We did already.
I don't want.
We had the tickets, Nat. We had to go.
My power just flickered, so sorry if I don't make it.
I don't want to die. That is the statement you need to make in your head next time. And continue, because obviously you didn't make it up the hill.
Did you want to take back over, Eric?
Sure. So, yeah, now at this point, we turn around and we have to crawl our way back. Now, all kinds of stuff is happening now. We can't see. We got to make our way back down the trail, back to Anthony's house. Now, for those people who don't know, Anthony lives off of a dirt road that is probably a 30-degree incline all the way up. It is,
and it's not just
pretty steep.
It's not just steep. There's a bend.
There's a bend.
2 bends, but one's sharp.
And you know who fucked us over? UPS.
It did.
Because when we were leaving, a UPS truck was at the bottom. Because those guys kill it. That guy was like, nah, I'm still delivering these packages now. And so they had to back up, and then we went out, and the UPS truck turned onto this road. Now, for those people who don't drive in the snow a lot or haven't lived in a snowy place, there's this interesting phenomenon that happens in that every bit of friction and energy transfer that occurs on top of the snow causes energy to move downward into the snow and heat up the snow.
Yeah.
That causes the lower level of snow to freeze. That UPS truck was the first people who rode on this new snow. They proceeded to melt and freeze the entire thing going up and melt and freeze the entire thing going down. And so now Anthony's little truck.
Oh, and a little.
Yeah. And so now his truck is stuck. Now we have a decision to make. We have a life decision. Option A. Fuck the truck, leave it, and we walk home.
Not a far
Option
walk.
B. Yeah, it's not a far walk.
It's not a long walk,
It
guys.
may be
bit.
it may be half of a football field. But even that is kind of it's give or take a half a football field. You know? This is not a bad walk.
50 meters.
But the car ain't doing it. So option B. MacGyver the shit out of this hill to get the truck all the way up the hill. Now, for some stupid reason, we chose B. So,
2 guys, two ladies in the car.
I did say we can just leave the truck, but then everyone else was like, "But we got shovels and leaf blowers and stuff, right? Let's just go get
Yep.
those."
Yep. And so we went, we got some snow, like some leaf blowers, we got all this stuff, and Anthony has these wonderful things for getting out of mud. And you put them in front of the tire and then you
Big
roll
traction
over them.
pads, yeah.
Yeah, big traction pads. They work wonders.
We actually used them the day before to get someone else out of the snow
We
or
did.
off of the ice at the
That was a
ski
sign.
resort. Yeah.
And so now we took these traction pads and we leapfrogged our way up this hill, one traction pad at a time.
Before
Me
that,
and
we used the leaf blowers to discover all the ice made by the UPS truck because it was buried under some snow.
Yeah, that way we could find the best path that we should take.
Oh, on our way out, remember it was lightly white, and you could still kind of see the asphalt. 4 minutes later, on the way back in, it was all white.
Asphalt.
There was no
Yeah,
asphalt.
it's just white. Yeah.
And so finally we found some salt. That was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
We might have screwed up that road pretty bad, but it was helpful.
But both wives ate it on the bend where all the ice was. They both fell hard.
Yes. There were a lot of slipping and sliding.
We only put salt for one wheel though.
Now, Nat, over under, we had to take this truck and get it half up a football field up this hill. Over under, and what kind of time frame do you think that took?
6 hours.
I'm glad it did not take 6 hours.
My
Luckily,
estimate is 6 hours. Yeah.
it took us right under 2 hours.
Yes, and
2
Ash was
hours.
carrying 50 pounds of salt when she fell, so it was a little worse.
Yeah,
than just
that was
falling.
Ash had the roughest fall.
No.
For sure.
Oh, I missed all of Ash's chats from before now.
No.
And there was a lot of salt. We had just enough salt to be able to do one wheel's worth all the way up the hill, so that one wheel could get traction.
Yeah, and at one point we realized, turn traction control off because it was making the wheel with traction stop spinning.
Yes.
Because
So we couldn't use traction control. It was a life experience in a lot of ways. And the people that came out at the top of that hill were fundamentally changed from the people that went down that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what really matters. Just like whiskey, you can go into a glass and come out different. We went into that hill and came out different.
Traction pads need to be replaced. They're flat on the bottom now. Which
Y'all.
I was supposed to go to Amazon to buy some.
Y'all.
But yeah, and then we were stuck, and of course me and my wife were like, okay, we're gonna have about 3 hours where it's not below freezing for this entire week. Let's go home during that time.
Yeah, if y'all were still here right now, like today it rained and then started to snow a lot. I was walking outside to do farm stuff, and the gravel pathway that goes down as a slope, just slipping and sliding like constantly. And then I had to go into the shed, and there's also that ramp to the shed that y'all might remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like moonwalking. Like I just couldn't walk up it. But luckily there was a few rocks that froze to the ramp in a spot. So I was able to like step on those rocks.
You bouldered up to your shed.
It was so dumb because it's like 3 feet, and like I can reach the door, but I can't walk into it because it's like
Driving me nuts.
it was so yeah. I was just trying to take the trash out.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
So that was pretty much our new year. Well, I'll talk a little bit about our gaming experience later in the podcast, so stay tuned because that'll be pretty fun. Anthony probably just lost power. But now he's back. And audience, if everything works
been here
correctly,
this
you
entire
will
time.
have never known that he was missing.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I will. We'll talk a little bit about the gaming next year. Obviously, it's a new year, and with the new year, we already started kind of our new year as a podcast.
Mhm.
But we're continuing down the wonderful path of Flaviar and the Hotel Flaviar Advent Calendar. And I honestly, last time, I would say the first three whiskeys, or the first two whiskeys of this Flaviar Advent Calendar are better than the first two whiskeys from the first.
Do you have the
Advent
numbers on
calendar.
that, or
Oh,
are
yeah.
you just saying like just experience wise?
So I can check for us, but I remember that the last one, I actually have our handy dandy notebook, just like Blue's Clues.
Looks like the one that came from BioShock.
I'm pretty sure we liked the first one and then subsequently disliked almost all
Yeah.
of them.
The second one was the JJ Corey of the last one, which was the Irish whiskey that was just underwhelming in comparison to most Irish whiskeys I've had. Honestly, it's not terrible, but it's not doing anything super special. And so I am excited. And I think the Bacta, while not my cup of tea, was extremely interesting in the fact that it was a blend of rye whiskey, Calvados, and Armagnac, which was very interesting.
Eric, I hate to do this to you. Did you start the recording for each of us?
Fudge cake muffin tops. I did not.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I did not.
Good thing I've been recording. I
Yes.
guess.
I do have my
This
OBS
is the
recorded,
point
though.
in the podcast where we just let you guys know that subscribe to our Patreon if you want to see the intro. Like we're just getting right into it for everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
The one good thing is that
Honestly.
the way we're doing it now, I can just rip the recording off of Twitch too.
There we go.
So
Let's just do that.
yeah.
Anywho, so we're already off to a better start than the last time we did this.
Yeah, and our next one, this one, is actually from somebody I've never heard of before. It's by a Blue Peak, and it's called Stranahan's.
Stranahan's.
Yes, Blue Peak.
Single malt whiskey, 43%.
Yes. And
So
see.
for those of you that saw our New Year's Eve podcast, my dogs, especially Deku, finally got to fulfill his life dream and like basically join us because he was on camera a lot. Now he is staring at me sadly, wondering why he
Still
isn't on the podcast this
Why
time.
aren't I on
He
camera?
thought he had earned his right because he's just staring
Sorry,
at me.
kid. You gotta be old enough to drink. You just aren't. Sorry, man.
I wonder
You're
if his
permanently
ears-
3.
I wonder if his ears are good enough to like hear you guys in my headset.
I mean, probably.
Probably.
He can hear a squirrel freaking breathe under the snow
Yeah.
5 miles away, so I'm gonna guess.
I mean, because he is behaving differently. Like last year, if we were doing this, he would just come up to me potentially and say hello and then leave. Now he's like not coming. He's like, no. How dare you?
How
Oh,
dare-
did you already pour it?
Yeah. I already poured
I
mine.
did.
I've been nosing it. I've been sticking the nose in there pretty deep.
Swish it, throw it away.
Oh yeah, and by the way, we're not going to give away our secret trademark. If you want our trademark ability, our nosing technique,
The thing
the
that got-
live show will
the
be up
reason-
this week, and we
We'll
talk
just
about
have to
it
do this when we do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
the reason we're all now doctors of whiskey.
Oh. Okay.
Still works.
It does still work. It does still work. And audience, if you want that trick, live show going up this week on the YouTubes, you'll be able to watch the full thing.
Very sweet.
Very sweet, but
Very
also
sweet.
there's like a toasty smoked something.
Yeah, it is very sweet. This one is like really has some like raisins and like light raisins, dried apricots.
I feel like I
Um,
smell a caramel apple that was roasted over an open fire.
I could see that too. I get hints of holiday spices like nutmeg or cinnamon. Hmm.
Smells like brown.
Brown?
It
Smells
does.
like brown sugar.
I could see that. A little bit of brown sugar. Well,
Or just the
guys,
color brown. One of the three.
Happy New
cheers.
Year's.
Happy
the
New
new year.
Year's. Welcome to the
Oh
second
my
year
God,
of the
my God.
To the
Taphaven
new year.
Podcast,
I don't
where
know.
we sometimes talk about whiskey.
Wait, are we still didn't initialize the recording.
I started it on OBS. I'll start it here too.
Oh, I mean, up to you.
I also didn't start it on OBS. I'm way off today. Apparently.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh.
It's
Interesting.
It's definitely got the maltiness.
Yeah, I get some maltiness.
This is juice. This is malty juice, guys.
It really is. But I'm going to add in
Juice.
one other flavor that I'm getting, which is I want you to paint a picture in your head, if you will. And audience, close your eyes and come on a journey with me.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I want you to picture holiday with your family sitting out on the deck with your father figure or somebody you look up to, and all of a sudden they're like smoking some tobacco product, and you look over and you see a pipe that is made of copper, because I get notes of winter spices with tobacco and copper. I get like that metallic copper flavor. Like it's bright and it has this metallic note, but it doesn't taste like every other metal. It very much reminds me of like copper.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't have that core memory, and thus I can tell you for sure.
Your father figure didn't
All I could think
smoke
of when he said
the
that was,
copper pipe?
I never knew my father.
I never knew my father. Oh my god.
Fish all friends.
Not food.
Yeah, I get this. It's very sweet. I agree with this juicy note that Nat's going for. I think the only thing is the underbelly of the flavor note all the way through has notes of metal, leather, and tobacco.
Fair. Bro, this thing has no bite.
No, I agree. There is not a lot of heat. What is our ABV for this? Because it's a single malt, I'm expecting low. Yeah,
42.
43. 43%.
43?
Yeah.
Jesus.
43%.
Oh, there's the toasted I was talking
86 proof.
about. Definitely butterscotch. I don't get the metal.
I don't get the metal either, and to be frank, to be frank, this tastes like a wine to me.
You know, it
It's a
does.
brandy.
This is a very fruity whiskey for sure. It's very light.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
They on their bottle, they call it a Colorado single malt whiskey.
Mm.
And then they say rich and mellow.
Rich and mellow.
And I think in a lot of ways that is a very accurate description. It is rich, mellow, it's malty, and then it kind of has some level of holiday spices with a little bit of wood, but not much. And then it has this note of tinniness, this like spice, like a cayenne. I think they use cayenne on their site,
Sorry,
but
Polar Nights just made me laugh.
but
Like as a
yeah,
barber, I love this show. It is every stage of beard growth.
It's a gradient.
Sorry.
Continue.
You may continue.
It,
The
it
beard's a
does.
strong
It
hair.
does. You start with me, and you end with him.
Dude, if it wasn't for the headset, like this morning I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Whoa, I'm fluffy." Like my hair was like poofing too.
A
Like
poof, if you will. Yeah,
I'm like one of my dogs. My winter coat came in.
bro. Don't
But yeah,
say
this
it like that, man.
this is a good one. So Anthony, thoughts? What would you give this whiskey? How do you like it?
Well, I'd give you the honorary award that my mother-in-law and my wife have earned, which is the best at timing questions when someone takes a drink or a bite of their food.
For
Oh,
sure.
that was 100% intentional. I'm just going to be entirely candid. I saw you take a sip, and I saw Nat bringing it down, and I was like, I know who I'm asking first.
There it is.
I definitely like it. It is definitely light, but it's still warm. Like there's still a good mouthfeel. It's kind of dangerous because it's like drinking water.
It is literally water.
It has a good bit of flavor. Like it's definitely not bad at all. It doesn't taste bad. It's not like impressive or anything because, as I've said many a time, I feel like the lower the ABV, the easier it is for it to taste good. That's literally why people like drop water into their whiskey so that they can taste things better. So yeah, I like it. It's a good single malt. Very mellow, like they say. It is literally mellow. You know. I wonder. I honestly just want to know what's the difference between drinking something at like 1,000 feet above sea level versus like 13,000 feet, like they're talking about this one. What changes?
Oh yeah, this is like so they talk about it on their site, but yeah, 13,000 foot peak in Aspen is what it's named for, which is Stranahan's Peak, I guess.
Yeah.
And it is double distilled at a high altitude and aged for 4 years in New American oak barrels, which is very interesting. Single malt in a New American oak barrel makes it very distinct from something like a more European style single malt or Scotch, where they really do mostly use used barrels from other distilled spirits and then or wines, and then they put their own mix in. This one using New American oak barrels is one of the reasons why it's probably tastes a little bit lighter.
Mhm.
It also uses a number 3 char. Very typically, you see a lot of number 4 chars, especially in bourbons and other American whiskeys.
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. It's very chill. It kind of reminds me of the way I like to snowboard, where it's like I just want to carve the mountain and flow. I don't want to like bum rush down it all the way as fast as possible. So like this is easily like a 5 out of 10 for me. Maybe more.
Really?
Maybe a 6, but it's just like well-rounded, good, tasty, very chill. Like not gonna light a fire in you, but also if it's like a warm day, you know, you're not gonna break into a sweat. Something crazy.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you said, what are you going, a 5 out of 10?
Yeah, it's like 5 out of 10, I think. Pretty good.
Now, daily drinker worthy?
I really don't even know what that means anymore.
Would you drink it every single day if you were given the opportunity and you felt the need?
I think a better way to frame it, for
I
me at
knew
least,
Eric didn't think of it that way. That's why I was
the way that I would frame it is that you could drink it every day.
If you were forced? Like, what's
No,
the
no, no, no,
context
no.
here?
So you talk about a daily drinker, And let's say like this could be a 5 and Redbreast 12 could be a 5. And they both could be daily drinkers. But I would, if I had both of them available for me, I'm not going to choose this over the Redbreast 12. But this would still be something to where if this was the only whiskey I had, I'd drink it every day.
I feel like since Nat was just with us in person, his like bullshit detection meter is like on. He's like, what you just said doesn't make any fucking sense.
Nope.
I'm not going for that. He's like,
Nope.
no.
If somebody abandoned you on a private island
No.
and only gave you this whiskey, would you drink it every day?
See, the weird thing is, I just think we're very different. My daily drinker is Bullet. I will drink Bullet daily. And
But you're going to say no
not,
to
so I'm saying
every
this
single
is,
other one.
because this is better than my daily.
So you would drink it
More
every day.
flavorful.
So that's your daily driver.
If someone else was buying,
I don't.
you know what I mean? That's like saying I would daily drink like the Redbreast 27. No, I would love to, but I can't afford that. That's
fair.
never gonna happen. Like, what are you talking about?
Fair. I'm going to check mark the daily drinker there and take out my 401k.
I feel like there's a better word for it. Like,
Okay.
like,
Then daily drinker.
yeah, like, deserves a spot in my cabinet or something like that.
Showcase.
A show, like,
Ooh, I do like that actually.
Or party favor.
So
I'm not gonna go out of my way to necessarily buy it, but if I saw it, I would.
I think we should create a new property instead of Daily Driver, and Anthony inspired me. Is this a bottle that you always have present in your cabinet? And I think that's a very interesting thing because that means that when you run out of it, you will specifically go out and buy another.
Get it again.
Yeah, for me, this one is like, if I saw it, I would definitely be tempted to get it, but I'm definitely not going out of my way to find it. I'm not searching for this one. It's not going on the list.
Then it's not a daily driver, or whatever we're connotating to the new classification.
It's not a inhabitant.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
wait,
It's not.
no,
It's
no,
not
no.
a regular.
We-
It's not a
We
regular.
need a cool term for this, guys,
Shelf.
because this is going to
Shelf.
be the thing that goes on our shirts.
Shelf staple shelf
It's a regular.
regular. It's not a regular.
It's not a regular.
That's a good one because regulars are
bar.
always at the bar.
No.
That's got it. It's not a regular.
Yeah, but we need one for what it is. It's a regular.
It's not a
Yeah,
regular.
dude. It's a regular. It's either
one's
it's
not.
a regular or it's not a regular.
This one's like a the
That's
guy,
not going to be confusing at all when we're drunk.
This
No.
one's like the guy
That's
that
kind of the funny part.
drives the
Yeah.
truck and delivers the alcohol to the bar. Shows this to me and he's like, "Oh, I also have this. Do you want one?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've had that before. Oh, sure, sure." But I'm not going to add it to my order. I'm not going to start ordering that from my bar.
Okay.
Fair.
That's a good way to think about it. If you owned a bar, okay, because
If I
we've gone
owned a
through
bar,
we've gone through so many whiskeys that being like, "Oh, is it gonna go on your shelf?" I'm like, "Bro, my shelf isn't big enough."
my
So
shelf
no.
is packed, man.
But if I had a bar with unlimited shelf space,
Yeah.
Bro, there's so
Actually,
much
shit, that might
alcohol on my
change things.
shelf. Oh my god, I'm looking at it.
no,
now,
it
it's
wouldn't.
Terrifying.
it's still 5 out of 10. What's
Okay.
terrifying?
My shelf. I just realized how much alcohol.
At some point, by the way, we're going to have to create a website that is like the front page is like the Taphaven bar,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows our like top whiskeys in a cool like 3D bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go through and like search statistics about all our ratings. Like that's going to be a thing that we have to do at some point.
Probably, yeah. I'd be down. for
That'll be
that.
cool.
We have to
That'll be
track down all of our actual regulars then. Like what?
I have them all. I'm going to
Well, I mean, I don't know
consider
if
that.
they're like regulars anymore. You know.
That's fair. That's fair. We might have to at some point we might have to have an episode that is a let's go back and think about what we actually rated this thing.
Should we like limit it to like a number of regulars?
I think it'll just be our top X. It
Okay.
looks nice on the webpage type of thing.
Okay. I'm down.
So, what would you pay for this, Anthony? Like price tag wise?
Maybe like maybe $40.
Called it.
And I'm also like honestly knocking it down to a 4 out of 10.
I say.
Because it started off a lot
Mm.
better than it's ending up.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not like I don't enjoy it. It's just
well,
those flavors are
well.
disappearing for me.
That's fair.
Also, at some point, I would love to hear how Nat's experience with the airport went and all of his, alcohol muling.
My alcohol, my
Oh yeah,
muling?
we'll have to get that story.
My commuling. Oh God.
Nat,
Okay.
what do you feel about this?
How do I feel about this one? It's okay. I mean, like, it doesn't feel like a bourbon to me. If that makes any sense. Like it tastes too much like a wine. It feels too much like a wine. It does not burn enough to not be wine. And the flavor profile is nice, but I would much rather it like have a little bit more spice. Actually no, I wouldn't want it to have more spice. I want the proof to be higher. Like, because right now, I think the only thing that's holding this thing back is the fact that it's 43%, and you're probably if to truly have something on your hands where I'd be impressed, you're probably looking at like 90 or something, right?
It definitely tastes like watered down, right?
It tastes like it's been neutered, right?
Oh, it has been watered down
By Colorado Springs. Oh no, El Dorado waters, right?
Colorado.
Colorado? Oh, okay.
Yep.
There we go.
This is from the Rocky Mountains.
I was right the first time.
El Dorado Spring Mountain Water. You were right.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is.
Cut to proof with pristine El Dorado Spring Mountain Water.
Incredible. So yeah, I'm not in love with it. I like the flavor profile, but it's just not getting my jimmies off, Like I'm not like it's failure to launch for me.
Okay.
It's a 3 for me.
Okay. Daily drinker?
It is not a daily drinker. No.
And what would you pay for it?
I'd pay 35.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd pay 35. What we got? Go on and say it.
Yeah, this one's one of those I would never turn this bottle away. And I'm pretty particular in that, I've said it many a time, but ones, I'm not finishing the bottle. Twos, I'll finish it in front of me, but I'm never like looking forward to it. It's not something, if it's for free, type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely pay for this bottle once. There's nothing wrong with it. It's very pleasant. It's got some dynamic flavors to it. It's got this nice like buttery cream type of flavor, but it's very sweet. And I feel that it is unbalanced for sure. I feel like it needs that higher proof or something on the other side of it to cut through the sweetness that is here. It has this very fruit forward buttercream type of sweetness, and that's kind of where it sits. And so with that, I also agree. I think it's around a 3 for me. I probably wouldn't daily drink it. It's just too sweet for my palate. As far as price goes, I'd really like to see this around the $35 to $40 mark as well. It does sit right around $47 is MSRP.
$47?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think for 47, this is one of those where if you like something sweeter, you like something that doesn't quite have the kick, you have a lot of cases where you can't quite keep up with the alcohol level, or if you're getting a lot of acetone, this might be one to pick up. There's no acetone here. There's no heat. This is a sweet, nice, rich experience. I would almost say that this as a dessert type of deal, like after a very spicy or meaty dinner or umami dinner, would probably be a wonderfully pleasant experience
Mm,
and
fair.
well worth your while. So there's definitely a place for this. But yeah.
Fair,
Overall,
fair.
nothing bad about this whiskey at all. There are no off notes. It's just a clean, low proof, desserty experience.
It's what we call a nothing burger in the business.
Nothing.
It's got all the makings, but there's just nothing there.
I think this with a little more proof and a little bit more balance between the sweet and
Bourbony.
bourbony flavors or whiskey
Yeah.
flavors would be
Yeah.
really nice.
For sure.
Deku, you're on camera. Okay.
Nice.
He's
The
been
star of the show
dying.
has arrived.
He's
wants to be
been
included.
dying. He's
Give
like,
me the
give it to
saddest
me.
eyes.
Give it to me. Oh my god.
So, Nat,
Hmm.
what have you? Wait. Before we get on to the gaming section of the Taphaven podcast,
Mm.
we had a goal over the Christmas break, and one of those goals was to bring you, the dear audience, content. To do so, we had to blur the lines of what one might call legalities.
Uh-huh.
And
It was all above board. It was all above board.
Nat was able to experience what it's like to be a mule. How was that experience, Nat? Like, you made it, obviously, with all the whiskey, but we sent Nat back home with quite a number of unmarked, right under 100 milliliter bottles of alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
give or take.
Something like that. Yeah.
Did you get to go through the pre-check or whatever you call it?
The Texas Pre, the TRS Pre.
I guess.
Yeah,
The
of
short
course
line?
I did. Of course I did.
Nice.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. I didn't put those bottles inside my bag. I
You
put them in my
checked
check. I checked them.
That's the part that's supposed to be
You
illegal.
checked
Matt.
them?
That's actually supposed to be illegal.
Nat, we
Check them.
specifically told you not to.
They're there.
You got really lucky. That's
Oh
that part's
my
supposed to be illegal.
goodness.
There's no. I don't see the problem.
You're only
That
allowed
one
to put
is
sealed
actually-
bottles in the checked.
I understand that, but also you have to consider with that kind of liquid inside of your bag, if they know it's alcohol and they're going to check
It's
because
legal
they
for
are-
it to be alcohol.
because they are set. No, it's not. You cannot.
no.
You can't.
Nat,
You cannot bring bottles of alcohol to drink on the plane.
No. You can't
You
drink them.
can't
Correct.
drink them.
Then why are they? Then they can't be in your bag.
Yeah.
Nat, so we did all the research for you.
I understand that.
Got
You
lucky.
can bring open alcohol onto the plane. You can't drink it.
That doesn't make any sense. You
Nat-
hear? Okay.
Nat,
I'm hearing.
After
what you're saying.
all the
Eric,
research that I've done,
I get what you're saying. I
you
totally
can
get it.
only
It
bring
just doesn't make any
open
sense to me.
alcohol on the carry-on. Bringing it in the checked bag
Doesn't
is
make
specifically against the law.
It doesn't make sense, but
sense.
it
It
that's
doesn't
what-
make sense.
Yeah, now you're on the watch list.
Oh, Nat, we
wasn't on-
told you.
It's fine.
Made it.
I'm fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
This is all alleged, by the way, for those out there.
This is a skit. None
yeah,
of this is real.
yeah.
None of this is real.
He did not indeed check in any baggage with alcohol. However, we do have 8 wonderful episodes funded by the ability of us getting alcohol to each other by driving to meet each other and not flying because there were no flights involved.
This is all a skit.
100%.
Nobody saw that.
Are they looking?
It's not recorded or anything.
It's not recorded or anything.
So I guess with that,
Oh, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a moment to share what my wife created for me and maybe some others. These awesome Viking Glencairn
Oh
hats.
Yes, our
yeah.
Glencairn Vikings. They're somewhere.
God,
I think
Super
they're
those are
still
cool.
cool.
packed.
I was about to
Super
say, I'm
cool.
like, I don't know if I got them right now, but I'm gonna
Oh,
get
y'all
them.
didn't see me get any, but after you all left, she gave me my stocking, and I had 3 of them in my stocking.
Oh,
There it
nice.
is.
Yeah. I
There it is.
was like, oh, thank
Very
you.
nice.
Yeah. Oh God, almost got plastic in my whiskey.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
what have y'all been playing lately?
I
How's
wonder if
the
we've all been
gaming
playing the
life?
same thing or
I
not.
think we've all been playing the same thing there, bud.
You haven't played anything since getting home, Nat?
No.
I have.
Well, then you have to go first then.
Oh, okay. So there are kind of two things that I did since getting home. One of them is I of course got home, and now the unfortunate thing is that the game that we have been playing does not work on my current computer. So I wasn't actually able to like come home and play that game, unfortunately. But
Did you already try what I sent you?
no, so I still
Okay.
have to go through all that. I just tried to like see if it would download real quick.
Yeah.
I was not in the mindset after driving to try and fix something, you know.
Time to go to Micro
But
Center. Sorry.
yeah, get new computer. Um, but there is a game that I've been meaning to play for quite a while, which was Amanda the Adventurer 2.
Amanda the Adventurer 2.
Yes.
That's a
So
very random. Where are we
if
going?
if nobody has played the original Amanda the Adventurer, it is a scary game where you are kind of investigating this weird series of events where it's kind of like The Ring. There is a tape or some VHS tapes going around that are weird stuff is happening. People are disappearing. Uh, People are dying. Things are happening. It's very Ring-like.
Okay.
And so the second one came out a long, long time ago, but I had never gotten around to playing it. But I saw that the Scary Game Squad had played the second one, and usually I like to play the game, the big ones that they play before watching them go through it like nonsense. It's a very short game. It probably only takes about 2 hours to get through. I think for the regular gamer, it'll probably take an hour and a half to 2.5 hours to get through, if that. So I was able to go
Okay.
through and do kind of the whole thing last night. Now, obviously, there are a lot of secrets that I probably didn't get because it's a very secret AR mystery type of game. You kind of have to, the whole game is you watch these VHS tapes and then you kind of solve puzzles while doing them. And this whole time, there are like spooky things happening, scary stuff. And throughout the game, there are deeper and deeper puzzles that you can solve to get better or worse endings to the game. And really, really cool experience. The Amanda the Adventurer thing has this underlying mystery that's going on about this father-daughter combo that is kind of getting taken advantage of by this corporation and causing all of this to happen. But at the same time, you're kind of going into this VHS and you start interacting with the characters in the VHS because they're pseudo alive. And so it gets very creepy, very weird. It has all of these weird things. I think there's this mechanic in it that I love from scary. Like I don't see it very often in scary games, but every now and then the VHS will be like, "What are you afraid of?" And it'll give you
It'll ask you? Nah, fuck
yes,
that.
it'll ask you and you can answer. So you can type in any answer that you want. And of course, it's not an unlimited response, but if you type in like, for example, that company that I was talking about, if you type in them, she'll be like, no, you can't bring those. And then it'll like flash and the screen will get creepy and a little like walking hallway thing will play, and then it'll cut back to the VHS and they're all happy again. Wooly, what did you do today? You know, and you're like, and so it has this like creepy response factor. It is, I think, I am excited to see more games do that type of thing, because I think that back and forth of where you're like, ooh, I know about this character's name that I heard about in this weird obscure part of the game that I read on a news article that you don't even have to see, and you type that in and then the character responds to you based on that information.
Yeah,
that's like a level of detail that is just really cool in gaming, because it makes you feel nice. You're like, oh, I spent extra time investigating this and I got to see something special for my like decision to put an effort into this game, which is really cool. Like, not a lot of games put that effort in, and so it's nice to see that.
Okay.
Ash watched the first one get played by the Scary Game Squad alone in an empty office.
Oh no.
Sick.
That was a choice. Yeah, they're very, I would say that they're not really scary, but they give you like this sense of unease, and they're very just unnerving throughout the game. They don't really have too many like crazy jump scares that are like scary. Like, the graphics aren't very realistic, and so the jump scares that do exist feel very, you know, like they have a childlike nature to them, so they're not like super scary, but the setting of the game is very clear and how it unnerves you the whole time. So it's kind of like just keeps you on edge for the whole game, which is nice. It does a really good job at that. And so that was one of the games that I was able to play last night after I got home. And then after that, I did some Pantheon, because I think I talked about it before the Christmas break. Pantheon, the MMO that I've been looking forward to since like 2012, released in early access recently. So I've been leveling up a shaman, and I'm around level 10, 11 right now. There are a lot of people that are way further thanks to the Christmas break. And you know, I'm tentatively excited, but it is not a game for everybody. This is not a game that I would even recommend most people play. It is really a love letter right now, at least. It is a love letter to EverQuest 1 from its initial days. And that's what it feels like. It feels like EverQuest 1. The nice thing about it is that there's a ton of people playing it. I went onto the server, and every single place that has mobs that you camp and like group up, because you have to do everything in a group. This game is a group-based game where you get into a group with 3 to 6 people and you kill mobs. And there are named mobs and specialty mobs, and you can combo. There's like light combo abilities and stuff like that. And there's no fast pace to this. It really is enter a group chat with 6 other people, shoot the shit while making numbers go up. And
pleasant.
If you look at it like that, it is relaxing, nice, chill, and just a cool way to sit down and talk with 6 random people for, you know, a few hours. And so it's really nice. But I am excited to see where it's going, because looking at the development track, they have so many interesting things down the pipeline. I think the only downside to it is it does just feel like it's so far off from being done still. But if you're like me and what you wanted out of this game was an EverQuest love letter, for better, it is actually doing that in a nice way. And I feel like it is the most similar game to EverQuest that has been released since EverQuest. And so I both love that, but also understand why it's not for everybody, and it's not going to be some game that has hundreds of thousands of players. It's going to be something where they keep the server populations down to, 1,000, 2,000, and they're going to have 1,000 to 2,000 people playing each of the servers at peak, and like that's going to be fun for the people that want that experience, you know. So yeah, I did a little bit of that. Killed some bandits and killed some goblins. They have like these goblin guys. There's like this giant goblin cave. And one of the coolest things about it is a lot of people hate the fact that there is no map. But I honestly, it is so engrossing to get lost in a game, find a group of people killing some mobs, be like, oh, those are like near my level. Do y'all need a person? And then they're
Just
like,
go from there.
hell yeah. And then you join them and you start killing mobs. And all of a sudden you had like an hour of fun with random people because you got lost. And like that's what it does well. That is literally the only selling point of Pantheon. And if that's what you want,
That's what you get.
that's what you get. That's cool. Go try it out. If you don't want that, or that sounds boring as shit, like that is the game. So don't think of it as anything special or different. It's not trying to do anything new. It isn't. It honestly doesn't have any of the features that make it new or a new take on EverQuest yet. All those features are planned for the future. So in my opinion, they're never going to be done. Right? I'm not going to ever expect them to be done. Go into it with that idea, and like, if you like that, it's kind of cool. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then outside of that, the only thing that I've played is the game that we've all been playing. So
2 games.
two games. 2 games.
Fair.
So I'll add in color as y'all talk about them.
Yeah. Anthony, do you want to go first or I go first? Well,
Definitely.
second.
Definitely you.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you want me to talk about which
I
one
want
do
you
you
to talk
want me to
about
talk
what you
about?
want to talk about?
Anthony, don't play these games. Don't play this game.
I know what I'm talking about.
Ash, we have the segment. It is time to
Windblown.
start. Okay, we can do that one. We can do that one first.
So we played Windblown on Steam Decks for a good 3 hours. 2 hours? 2 hours.
3
Three
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, it was like 3 hours.
Fun game. Just a bit of information. Shit's hard.
We
Bro.
can't beat that last boss.
I
We got
did
stuck
it,
on-
but like it doesn't feel good when you do. Like, so little bit of backstory for this. I didn't realize that this is the same people who made Dead Cells.
You didn't realize that? I thought I told you this.
No, hold on. I forgot that I've played Dead Cells,
Yeah.
and that is not an easy game.
No.
Like, even with the scaling and the whole like roguelike aspect, you have to have an idea as to how the game works, and you have to have a good idea as to how to get a build to work as well. It's very mechanically focused on you being good. It's not about a power fantasy. You are going to get good at this game. It's very dark. It's like the Dark Souls of roguelikes, if ever there was one. All of that to say, I forgot. And so I started playing it whenever you guys weren't, and I remembered. I was like, oh, wait, I remember why I stopped playing Dead Cells. Because at a certain point in time, the game's like, you're going to have to get good. Or else I'm going to keep on pushing your stuff in, dude. And I was like, what if I don't want to be good at you? And then it's like, well, that's fine, but I'm not gonna serve anything up for you. So all of that to say, the game is fun to a point, and I will stop playing it alone so that I can continue to enjoy it, because there was a period of time on, like, I don't know, I think it was Saturday or Friday or something like that, and I was playing it alone, and I was like, this is not it for me. So I know I sound like an old boomer. Is like, I don't want my games to be hard. I just want to be able to play them, be good at them. But yeah, so, like a huge skill diff with that game. Like, it's not gonna play with you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, this This game did something very similar, in my opinion, to Risk of Rain 2, where it added this depth of complexity of a whole different vector
Mm-hmm.
to the second game. And then it added some of the coolest mechanics to this style of game that I've seen. And so when you have this roguelike 2D genre where you're getting upgrades, you're changing the way that your character works, you're using these abilities, and you get different weapons, and you have like Hades that does this, Risk of Rain 2, all of these things. They all have different things that make them satisfying or fun. And Windblown decided to make this mechanic of timing and switching in this almost QTE fighter game mechanic. And they added it on top of all of the systems that are in all these other games. And so one way that I would explain that is that Windblown would never be the first game that I tell somebody to play of this genre, especially if they're a new gamer, right? Because it takes all the things you need to know from something like Hades and adds complex features on top of that.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's one of those games where I had this moment when I was playing it alone, where I was fighting through the second stage that you unlock after you get the defeat the boss.
Yep.
And I had this series of events that occurred where I was just hitting my timings. I was switching every weapon every time. I got these perfect dodges. And what happened is I had this fireball build where every so many seconds I would spawn a fireball. Every time I killed an enemy, I would spawn a fireball. And every time that I switched, I would spawn a fireball. And so all of a sudden, everything's just blowing up on my screen. And it's all because I'm doing these combos and doing all these things like perfectly. And it was such a dopamine rush to get all of those things to line up. It was kind of like watching the episode from Haikyuu season 2 where all the cogs are coming together. Click, 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 and everything was just rolling and flowing so perfectly. And it felt like this beautiful symphony of a fighter game, a top-down RPG, and a rhythm game all in one. And I don't know that there is another game that has quite the same complexity of skill in this style of game.
Fair.
Not to say that I agree with you wholeheartedly, though. That brings up that skill floor higher than the other games. And that can be daunting.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody because of that. But man, when it pops off, I feel like the sky is the limit for the enjoyment of the pop off.
For sure.
But Nat also mentioned playing it and feeling a little like cheesy in a way of like beating a boss, right? And I think that's probably because, to me, the best design they have is that with all the stuff Eric's saying, you want to complete your combos. You want to make those happen. It's very compelling because it's so epic when you do. But if you don't start it at the right time, well, you're going to get hit before you finish it. And it seems like a lot of the timings of the enemies are to mostly hit you when you're being greedy. But if you aren't greedy and you're just like caught and playing careful, you can win.
There's also times when the items fuck you. I have noticed.
The fishy balloon guy does steal the show.
The fishy balloon guy?
The fishy balloon guy slaps. He is the only character that matters.
He eats all the cogs, takes them back to the base.
You mean the fishy koi?
Yes.
The cloud koi or whatever?
Yes, the cloud koi.
Oh my god.
He is peak cinema.
Peak game design. So
Yes.
that was the game that I feel like I was like, oh, this is fun. And then like immediately had a reality check of, oh fuck.
Now, audience, I just want to enlighten you as to Nat's personality though, because every game that I've seen him talk about that, like that's how he feels about it. I also look like 2 weeks later and he has like 4,000 hours played in those games. So, I mean, he's probably gonna.
I never said I didn't have a problem. I never said that. I never said I didn't have a problem. I just said that like there's the game just doesn't like me, you know?
Fair.
Oh God, how many hours do I have in Dead Cells right now? Probably too much, honestly.
Too many in Dead Cells. That game slaps too.
Yeah, man, you played another game?
I played another game.
Yeah?
Yeah, I played it. We talked about this on the stream, so I don't think I need to talk about it again, do I?
We did.
Oh,
We did
I
actually talk
forgot
about
about
it on the
that
New Year's
because
live stream.
Eric and I have played it since.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
where I
So
got
We did.
confused.
let me go
We
ahead and
did.
speak to something because it was something that
Okay.
like I found that I was like, oh, this is actually interesting. So Anthony told me about it after I saw it and showed it to him, but he said there's something where it's non-G restricted or non-G locked flight.
Oh yes, it's called Decoupled.
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 Okay,
Yeah.
so there is coupled flight and then there's decoupled flight. And I saw a video of somebody flying decoupled, and I was like, that's cool.
They were low flying amongst
Yeah.
like mountains and ravines and stuff.
That was cool. I was like, oh,
Dude,
okay.
Nat, it's so much fun, especially like if the three of us are doing it together, and you're like, Nat, you're like, Eric, stay still, and then you do like a whoosh over him, and it goes right over his screen and stuff,
Yeah.
and then you mess up and everyone dies.
I just feel like that should be the natural evolution. Because okay, so little context. I thought Top Gun Maverick was the best movie of like 2021, 2022, whatever it was. I don't know what it is about that movie, but Jesus Christ, it fired all of my synapses. In the last fight, specifically when it's the old fighter jet against the new set. And one of the new sets does this fucking wild ass cartwheel over the old unit. I was like, that's what a fucking dogfight's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like that is the shit right there. Like, and I've only gotten that from anime. So to see it renditioned in a like kind of it's still fantasy, obviously, but like in a more realistic fantasy, I was like, oh god, I fucks with this. And so for me, when I saw it, I was like, okay, that's how dogfights are supposed to be. Like, I want people to dance as they fucking do this shit.
Dude.
And I feel like that's what you can do with that kind of game style. I don't know how thrusters work in that setting. I don't know if like you can create like this really weird angular
Yeah. So
progress through stuff, but
in the video you
fascinating.
watched, they were on a moon, so there was no atmosphere. If you did that on a normal planet with atmosphere in the game, no, it's not going to work because your ship is just going to go through the air and plummet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's another interesting thing about the game is different ships do really well in atmosphere because they look like a plane. But then there's these really good spaceships that fly like nothing in atmosphere. It's like it sucks.
Yeah.
But you remind me of another neat thing. They've added so much more of this in 4.0 with the pyro system. You go to a place and your, dogfighting is happening amongst some insane asteroids. Like there's these asteroid bases and stuff, and so you're like weaving and tunneling through these asteroid tunnels and stuff like that, and it's really dangerous. More than once, many more times than once, I have just been in the middle of battle and then I blew up because I wasn't paying attention and I flew into an asteroid. And they're big and small, and it is a really cool aspect of the game. I do wish that we had taken some time to do some of the stuff like that, some more epic, like Star Citizen stuff, because we kind of just mostly did Tarkov in space with you.
Fair. Fair.
Like for instance, can I story time for what Eric and I did?
You can story time. You can story
So Eric and I went back into the old build that's still alive, the 324 build, where you can unlock like permanent upgrades for your account if you complete this Save Stanton event where the pirates from Pyro are attacking people in Stanton. And in phase 1, you do like there's a couple options, but the option we chose to do was where you defend these NPCs from an onslaught, multiple waves of ships coming in to shoot them down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at one point, Eric and I blow up, but we're not dead. We're what you call soft death.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're in 0G. Our ship's on fire. We had, a pocket rocket in the back. We had like a 2-seater little freaking, zoom in the back. We're like, okay, let's get on that and see if we can get to the other ship, see if there's anything we can do. Well, that one blew up too. And then Eric's like, well, can we just like go to the ship and like take it over? Like, well, that's a great idea. Let's find out. Like, in most games, no. But maybe we fly over, open the freaking door, book it to the freaking bridge. There's an NPC in the pilot seat. So I just start punching him over and over again, just punching him.
Do you have a gun at this point?
No gun. Okay. So I'm punching him.
Okay.
He falls out. The seat moves. Sure. Get in the seat. I'm flying the ship now. Okay. I got some guns on the ship, just 2 little lasers, trying to fend off all the bad guys. We're at 37% health, which is scary because you can see it in the quest thing. You usually can't see like your exact health. It's like you're at 37%. You're at 33%. It's like going down.
Very specific. They're like you're very close to eating it. Yeah.
And Eric's running around trying to figure out if he can get a fucking turret, which like I think at one point we determined it seems like maybe there's some NPCs already in the turret that just aren't shooting. So because he just couldn't get into the turrets that existed on that ship. So that was unfortunate. We couldn't get all the firepower.
Okay.
I get it down to like 1 or 2 bad guys left. And we finally blow up. Like we spent like 10-15 minutes almost succeeding in the mission by taking over the in distress ship and beating all the bad guys. And that it was epic in itself, and it would have been even more epic if we actually succeeded. It was just like it was one of those magical Star Citizen things that like, well, no, that's not how the mission's designed. Why would you be able to do that? Actually, no, we were able to do that, and we almost won.
I continue to go back to my statement where I don't doubt that the game has special moments. It needs time.
Mm-hmm.
It does need time.
Yeah.
It's not that I hate it. I mean, do I hate it? I don't think I hate it.
You were saying that when I was showing you around the ship that you got, that you were like, "Oh, that's cool." Like you liked how it had all the interactions.
Yeah, it's got some cool. Like it's got some stuff where I'm like, dude, like, what is it? Everybody wants to be a space cowboy.
Yeah.
I have this thought, and I have a feeling like it's something that everybody feels. Everybody wants to be a space cowboy. Like, there's nobody who doesn't watch some kind of like. Sorry, not everybody, but most. I don't know, fantasy nerds. Let's go ahead and go with fantasy sci-fi nerds. The first time that they like find out about Robotech or fucking Star Wars or anything revolving around star-based warfare or like intergalactic livelihood, Star Trek or anything like that, they're like, man, I really wish I had a crew and I was flying through space. And I was just doing whatever it is that I wanted to do, whatever X fantasy that they have for themselves inside their head. I feel like that game is probably the closest that you're ever going to get, because I feel like a lot of people do it halfway and don't reach the level of depth that they want to live that fantasy. But it gives me Ready Player One vibes, where I'm like, unless you give me like a fully immersive like experience, it's hampered. Like it's either all or nothing. Like you have to give me the ability for me to look up, hit two, maybe three switches,
Mhm.
and it does something for my ship.
What's interesting, because you didn't do much stuff in a ship, is that they are implementing that. And
I
when
I
you,
know, I know.
yeah, when you
I've
like
seen.
hold the F
Yeah.
button, you can go and flip the switches.
Uh-huh.
And so that's all so that in VR you can actually
Go.
do that,
Yeah.
which will be so cool.
I don't know if VR is going to be able to keep up with the speed that I feel like people are going to want to do with that, but I don't know because I don't really keep up with VR technology like that. I guess time will tell. But what was I watching? I was watching in the secret level episode with Armored Core, and it's Keanu Reeves playing like the old gen pilot. And some of the stuff he was doing, I was like, God, that's so fucking cool. Like
Mhm.
I know it's pandering to like just like I don't know, edge lord badassery or whatever. But there were certain things where he was doing
Well,
with the technology. I was like, dude, yeah, I would love to do that. Like shit's falling apart and I'm just flipping switches. I want that.
Oh, like repairing and
I,
stuff?
I will say, did
Not
you
not
did
even
you
that.
play Fires of Rubicon?
No, I did not
Oh
play Fires of
man,
Rubicon, but I heard it
uh,
was great.
dude, you should play Fires of Rubicon.
Yeah, I heard it was
It's
great.
really good. I mean, I loved all of the Armored Core games. They're just so cool.
Hmm.
Um, Fires of Rubicon is done by the same people who do Dark Souls
Hmm.
and Elden Ring.
It's one of their original
And
IPs.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dude, six is the probably the best Armored Core in my opinion since two. I love it.
Yeah.
It is
So
very good. Well worth
all that's
playing. It's so much fun, and you
I'll give it a shot.
especially if you've seen the new show.
Yeah. I watched the show and I was like, damn, that's really cool. But it also made me realize like I really wish there was a game that gave you that kind of vibe. It it makes you fantasize, you know? It puts you in the situation of well what if? Like what if they pull it off? Well, there's that, and then there's also like, okay, what if technology comes around and you're actually in like a haptic set suit that like makes you feel G's, and you have to fight the G's and also do your job, and you actually become like an actual jockey. Like you're not just like an average Joe. I like the idea of having an actual hard skill, like body wise, from playing like some form of virtual simulation. Like I know people do that
Hmm.
with drones and the like. So I
And
get
with
that.
even racing games, because in a
Yeah,
racing game
yeah.
with the feedback of
Of
it's
the
hard.
wheel.
It's a
Yeah,
workout.
yeah, yeah. So
I was
like
about to say I've seen some pretty complicated flight
setups.
sims
Yeah.
too for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Like
Mm-hmm.
the amount of stuff that you can do is pretty crazy nowadays. Like
Yeah.
it's obviously not to the level that you're talking about, but like it gives a lot of promise for
Mm-hmm.
like the future of it
Yeah.
being closer and closer to that.
I don't know if you read the series. Brandon Sanderson put out a God, he put out
Is this
a
Skyward?
yeah. And some of the battles that they do, I'm like, oh yeah, if that was a video game, and like there was G caps that would take a certain amount of G force off of like a stupid turn that you have yourself like anchored into a rock and you're swinging yourself around, and if you cap it out, you're slammed into the fucking like wall. Oh, so cool, so cool.
What's his
Anyway,
name? I will say, what's his name? Oh my gosh. The guy who does the wizard Sherlock Holmes.
Benedict Cumberbatch,
No, not
the
the
wizard.
actor, the guy who writes the books. And one of them is the Dresden Files. Jim
Oh,
Butcher.
Jim Butcher, yeah,
So Jim Butcher has a series called The
Paranormal.
Cinder Spires.
It's great.
I want the Cinder Spires in a video game
You're not getting it. If
so
we
badly.
if we didn't get Black
Like,
Flag, you're not getting
oh,
you're not getting Cinder Spires, dude.
like that's what I want.
Super
That
cool.
would be
Yeah.
so freaking cool.
That's
So
truly
cool.
a true fantasy like. So Anthony, I feel like Cinder Spires would be the perfect setting for like a game like Sea of Thieves. I think if you put Sea of Thieves into a world like Cinder Spires, it would be so interesting to me. I wouldn't put it down.
Dude, I really
Yeah.
hope that they're working on a Sea of Thieves too, because like I've talked about Hippo TC a lot.
Mhm.
He's been a Sea of Thieves streamer for like 5 years. One of his community members, after 2 years of incessant requests, finally got him to play Star Citizen,
Uh-huh.
and he's
rem-
completely on the same page as me. He just told somebody today, Star Citizen is an alpha that is constantly getting better and becoming like a game.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves is a fully released AAA game that is becoming an alpha. What the hell?
Yeah. That's
Dude,
sad.
so backwards. I
Dude,
hate
so
it
many
much.
so many Sea of Thieves streamers have now tried Star Citizen. It's crazy.
I'm
'Cause
not
it's the only
surprised that they're
game-
coming
Yeah,
out with it, though. It's the
yeah.
only thing that's like hitting on the same
Yeah,
fantasy. It's the only
Yeah.
thing that's giving it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
it's a
it
good
makes sense.
crossover.
It is. I'd
I
say,
just-
yeah, if you like Sea of Thieves, then your next best game is going to be something like Star
You just
Citizen.
need one of the best PCs that
Yeah.
exist instead of a Xbox One
Yeah.
S.
Just
Yeah.
so sorry. So sorry. So sorry.
Yeah, that sucks.
Except I'm not.
Yep. When you were talking about the controls and stuff, like I feel the same way another streamer Burks does, which is they were like, "Would you ever get tired of Star Citizen?" And it's like, well, the thing is, I just legitimately enjoy just flying with my sticks in the game. Like it's so
Oh,
enjoyable.
yeah, yeah.
It's like I can relate it to going snowboarding or taking my one wheel for a ride. It's just like it's very satisfying when you smoothly land your ship, or you're doing that low flying thing that you just said, or weaving in and out of a space station in close quarters. And I don't know, there's something about it.
I will say I think it would be really cool because I've been like one of my guilty pleasure YouTube side series where I just put it on and do stuff while I'm uh having it on in the background is to watch people playing Microsoft Flight Simulator with VATSIM, which VATSIM is it's kind of like this side network that tracks every plane that's online in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then you have actual trained air traffic controllers go through, and when you're playing Microsoft Flight Sim online, you can talk to those air traffic controllers, so they have a full flight network that they're running and doing just like real life, essentially. It's a great way for people to train to learn how to fly planes, learn how to do ATC, so that the people in there are trying to get their flight license usually and stuff like that. And it's this really cool thing. It is flying, but with this level of upper dynamic where you're able to engage a little bit more with it that I would enjoy, at least. Where I would love to be able to see that in Star Citizen, where you have these giant ships and you have maybe you're shuttling people from point A to point B, but the ship is like a 737 in how complex its controls are. You're having to like
Mhm.
turn different things on, do all these different things while talking to like the Star
Tower.
TC, like the
Yeah, yeah.
STC,
Yeah.
you know, and you have these different solar system towers, planet towers, and stuff like that, where you're flying through and doing all these things.
You see,
That would be really cool.
all that is really practical, and I do love games that teach you things like for real life. But like when I'm playing Star Citizen, I'm getting ready for what is it?
I'm getting ready
Speaker for the
war.
Dead. What was the
I'm getting ready for war.
what was it? I'm getting yeah, exactly. I'm ready for the alien invasion. I'm ready to be what's his name in Ender's Game. you know.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The old guy that teaches Ender because they
That old guy.
shipped him away. Yeah, you know. I'm ready to fly the spaceship, man.
Dude, I think we're all ready to fly the spaceship.
Yeah. Because, like, I think about it, like, Eric, you're talking about it, and I know there's a lot of complicated stuff to do with a plane, but my understanding is once you've taken off, autopilot, and then landing. So, like, for flying as a person, it's mostly takeoff and landing. Once you're in the air, you're just cruising. So, like,
That's why
Microsoft Flight
the
Simulator,
ATC part is so interesting, because it is a level above the boring level, right? Like outside of the all of the AI stuff, all the automated parts, what you're actually managing is the airspaces, the people, the routes, determining all that. All
but,
that
like,
is a layer that's fun. Because right now, like Star Citizen, in my opinion, just doesn't need the flying. Like you're going to a place to do something, and so the flying doesn't have an activity in which you do. It's just a time sink right now.
I'm sorry, did you just say Star Citizen doesn't need the flying?
That is my opinion.
I feel like you've never played the game.
I have like well over 150 hours at this point.
Star Citizen doesn't need the flying. That's a statement.
It doesn't need the flying from point A to point B. Like the points that you're doing the things are where the gameplay in Star Citizen is.
See, and I mean, that's just a big difference between you and other people. Most of the people
fair.
that I play with and enjoy the game, they just adore that process.
I'm
Like,
not
for
saying
me,
take
when
that out.
playing- Well,
I'm
you
just saying
sounded like you were
add
saying
more
take it out.
stuff in, right? Add more stuff in to make things around the flying. So, for example, they have racing. Racing is an interesting thing about flying. You go to a place, you do the race, and the race can be a lot of fun. It's a fun way to fly, right? But that is a gameplay element. A lot of times right now in Star Citizen, your flying is just landing and docking and taking off. And then after that, you're just wasting time to get to whatever point you're trying to get to, right? So like if you're 50 gigamiles away from something, like you're just sitting there doing nothing for 10 minutes, right? What you actually want to be doing is being at point B.
Well,
What I
so-
would like to
yeah,
see is
well,
not
they're
take
adding-
away that time.
No, you're right. But they're like, so engineering is what's supposed to fix that. So in engineering, you don't just fix your ship when things go wrong. You're also deciding how to tune and change your ship for what's coming up. So you queue up that quantum travel, like you're talking about, and then you go into the back of your ship and get it ready for whatever event you're about to do. Are you about to go to do a bunker mission on planet or something like that? Do they have anti-air, defense? Well, maybe you want to make your ship a bit stealthy so that you can get as close as possible and land and whatnot.
Oh, and that's kind of what I'm getting on is that's what they need. I'm not saying take out the
Yeah.
flying. I'm just
I thought
saying
you were-
right now
I thought you
in
were-
today's age, right? Like there's wasted flight time where you're waiting on superficial things that don't exist in the game yet.
Yeah, for a second I thought you were suggesting like Destiny 2 level loading screens. I was like, dude, I hate that.
Fuck that.
No, I don't want them to do
Fuck
that.
that.
I'm just saying that right now in the game, that is what they are. Like right
there's
now,
another thing-
Destiny 2 loading screens are better than traveling in Star
Yeah.
2, in my opinion.
And there's
I'm not
another
saying
thing
they-
about it is that, if you get the best quantum drive, you will take that 5-minute quantum jump and take it down to like 2 minutes. Like it's that
Yes.
big of a difference. And so there's like major incentive to get that upgrade.
Yeah.
But now you can't just go and buy that upgrade. You have to earn it or find it or steal it or whatever.
Or buy it.
No, you cannot buy it
You
anymore.
can't buy it.
That's
You
the
gotta
So
thing
you
that they
can't?
changed. Yeah, they changed it.
Ah,
You can't buy
that's
the
good.
best components anymore. You have to, as I said,
That is
find,
good.
earn, or steal those best components.
That is good. They need to honestly just get rid of their entire shop because it's just going to be thrashed. I don't think they'll have a commonplace market in the gaming world as long as they have that marketplace because of how many people just trash on the marketplace and
Are you
it
talking
gives them
about
a bad look.
buying with real money?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You've never
yeah.
been able to
Real
buy the
money.
best components with real money.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that that is the case.
Mhm.
I have abstracted away from that part of the conversation entirely because like I agree with you. I'm just saying the ability to buy ships at all in the game has become a bad look for Star Citizen, and they should probably just take that out entirely. Because
Hmm.
like
I
I
mean,
don't think
the
here's the
reason I
thing, I don't think a large number of people are going to play the game while people like I mean there are a lot of big names who are trashing the store
so
right now.
I think it's just mostly from people not knowing the design. Like, you will never be able to buy the best ship. You'll never be able to buy the best components. No matter what, anyone that spends more time in game will have a better ship. If you buy $1,000 ship because you want to, guess what? You can't do anything with it because you need 10 people to help you fly that ship. Oh, you just flew from point A to point B. You land and you go to refuel. It costs like 1 million fucking in-game currency, and you don't have it because you've only flown your big ship. You still have to go and do a whole bunch of stuff and use the small ships to do things. So like, people think that it's pay to win, and it's not, because of the gameplay, like design.
Mm.
You're not going to win because you paid more money. You just happen to have a bigger
Yeah.
ship where more people can engage in it. And if y'all don't have enough money to pay for it, well, it's a paperweight.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm not
bud.
saying that. I'm not even saying that it's like pay to win or anything. I just think it's a bad marketing decision to have any game element worth over like $1,000 on a shop that you can buy because like the amount of people that are going to buy it is so low, and just having it listed, people are like the community as a whole outside of the game who don't know what the game is are going to use that against it. So in my opinion, I'm
Yeah,
like,
they do.
hey, I want Star Citizen to succeed. Guys, just take it off. Like you're going to maybe sell two. 100 grand is not worth the bad
Well,
publicity.
I think it actually is, because it's the only way that they have funded the
Disagree.
game.
No, it
It's the
isn't.
only
They
reason
make
that the game
enough
still
off of like
exists.
starter packs. They just need the one price. Enough people are going to play Star Citizen for its base entry cost that they could have the base entry cost and like two other starter packs, like most other games, and they would make near the same amount of money than having all of these $1,000+ ships, having an admiral club and a vice admiral club for paying more. All those things just give it a really bad look for superficial reasons that aren't actually giving them like they are, in my opinion, they are getting two or three, four. They're getting a small set of whales to pay for those things, and they're paying for bad publicity, not good publicity. Whereas they
I
could
think
take
the
them out
statistics
and
might
pay for good publicity.
I think the statistics might be completely different than what you are saying, because in my experience, I've been shocked by how many people actually that I've met own those high value ships. And the thing is, you're saying that, oh, $1,000 for a ship is expensive. Well, you need to compare this to other people and their hobbies. There's a large amount of people in the world who go and spend $200 a week at the bar. That's $800 a month. Okay. That means it is not at all weird for some dude to spend $1,000 a year on a game when his buddy is spending, $10,000 a year just going out to the bar. It's not actually that much money. It's just because it's a video game and it's digital that people think it's worth not that
I don't
much.
have a problem with that amount of money being paid for a video game. I have a problem with a company predatorily marketing that style of video game.
But what's predatory about it?
So, like,
They're not making
if
you
you,
buy it.
they aren't, but they're giving. So, I think the whole marketing scheme of how much time and effort they put into making their store page about buying ships. And then you have this whole thing of the more ships you buy, the better ships you can buy. And then they go through and make these
It's not
limited time
actually.
offers.
That's a complete fallacy. So for some reason, there's some propaganda going around, and I think this is actually one of the reasons I kind of stopped watching. What's his name? Pirate Gaming. He's spreading the propaganda. They say, oh, you have to unlock this level of spending money to spend more money on better ships. That's not true. The only thing you unlock if you happen to have spent enough money is paints, skins, and they're like cheap. You haven't actually earned the right to spend more money on a better ship.
But
it's just that those ships that you think they get to access to, they're just not for sale for anybody. They go on sale occasionally in a limited number during their like 1 or 2 events a year because they're trying to limit how many of them are in the player base.
But these literally unlock ships, like these different concierge levels.
They don't
unlock ships like the 600i and the
No, you can buy the 600i without being
Anvil
concierge.
FBC, but you can't get these editions.
You can't get
of
the
them.
Anvil F8C with the concierge stuff. That's not a
No,
thing.
it literally is. If you spend
No, you have
$15,000 as a Praetorian, and it says it on their site. Like I'm looking, I'm reading their site right now. If you
To get
spend
the F8C, you have to
$15,000,
earn it in game.
according to this, you can buy it if you're a Praetorian.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to their concierge levels thing, they have different things that unlock at each level. I'm not saying there aren't other versions of these ships available. I'm just saying the idea of this, the winners are winning more because we dictate it so, is just a very weird, like feels bad marketing tactic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying the game is bad because of that. I'm just saying for me,
So
even as someone who likes where Star Citizen is going, I want him to stop doing this.
You haven't earned the right to buy it. You just get it for free at that point.
That's
And
even
you
worse.
can already because you can already buy it without ever having done that. So the Anvil F8C specifically, if you went and did some in-game stuff and you got a like silver card or a gold card, then you would get the rental and then you could buy it if you wanted. If you got the platinum card in game, which required like hunting down a dev in game and taking them down, you just got the ship for free. Like you earned the ship and it's yours now. And so these are just handouts. They're not, oh, you can now buy it. I think the 600i you're already able to buy, and if you can't buy it all the time, it's on occasion. The F8C you can't buy unless you have the card, which you can't get the cards anymore because I don't think the event's going on. So basically, it's giving you a skin because you happen to spend so much money.
Even that.
But I'm just saying that you had a misconception, and that's something that Pirate Software constantly says. He's like, oh, you earn the right to pay more to buy more ships. That's not true. You're not reading.
You are getting that ship though.
You're getting something for having spent more money. And so in the way most
That
people
is
end up
what
doing
I have
this is through
that
subscriptions.
core idea. But that core idea is what I have a problem with when you're talking about this much money for digital products.
It's weird to me that you and others think that it is a problem for people to spend an amount of money on a game. You're saying there's a limit to how much money should be spent on a game. And this game is a car collection simulator. It is a watch collection simulator. For the longest time, that's pretty much all it was. And it's not a bad thing of what it does, because when you go into it, it's like, wow, I've never seen such passion on an art team and on a dev team. There's all these intricate little pieces and parts that actually fit together and function, and people just admire that. And so they're paying an excessive amount of money that makes no sense for something that's impractical, that they don't need. It's not something to get to work with. It's not something to just tell them time. It's something for them to admire and enjoy and just give to the craftsmen that have developed it. And you're saying that it is not fair for the craftsman to charge for their work.
That is what I'm saying. I
Which
don't
makes no sense.
I don't think that's fair.
So you think it's not fair for someone to spend $1 million on a classic, car that you saw in Supernatural?
Okay, let me put it this way. If
Same
I
thing.
owned that car and put it in my garage, that car can't disappear overnight. If this company goes under, that $10,000 thing is
sure.
gone forever.
But guess what? $10,000 versus $1 million. Huge difference. You're not spending $1 million.
That doesn't matter when you have a real
your car
build.
can go away overnight too.
Not in the same way. It just can't. It isn't the same. They aren't.
If there's a fire. It's
In
gone.
my
There's an accident,
mind,
it's
those
gone.
are not equitable situations.
But that's why it
at
is
least to me.
a like 1/100th, 1/1000th of the price. It is not $1 million for this digital thing.
It is. It feels scummy. It feels bad.
But it's not.
That's okay if you think that. I don't think that. I think it feels scummy. And
It's the same thing. You could say the same thing about
love-
art. You could say the same thing about a painting.
Sure. I mean, sure, you could. I'm just in particular saying it about this. Because that's how I feel about it. Like, it feels bad for them to kind of have this type of pay model to me, especially when they don't need to, in my opinion. They're going to make
you don't know
enough
that they
money.
don't need to. You just think they don't need to.
I think they're getting.
But you don't know. You can't know that. So it's conjecture.
Sure.
And
Fine.
it basically
it
spreads
is my
propaganda about
conjecture.
it.
That's okay with me because
It's
it
okay to
feels
spread
bad.
propaganda,
It feels scummy. It feels terrible that they do this.
but
like,
it's not.
Why
It's
are we selling a $42,000 ship? What is this?
Where do you see a $42,000 ship? Again, propaganda. You're just saying these things that don't exist and aren't real.
No, people have actually bought this ship.
There's not a $42,000 ship.
No. This was a whole thing. There was a whole thing for this.
You're probably talking about like a package where you buy every ship that exists in the game or something like that, but not like
Let me look it up.
But still,
The new it was the Legatus 2952. And it was $42,000.
there's a $48,000 bundle.
There is also a
Supposedly.
$48,000. Yes, the everything pack, Legatus 2953. All of that. They don't need to do this.
So, but the weird thing is that like there are people that are simply investing because they want this game to exist. You're acting like this is preying on people that work at McDonald's and trying to steal their money. It's not. The people that spend money on this are CEOs, VPs of engineering. Like they know what they're doing. They're investing in a game and getting something small in return because they want the game to exist. But for some reason, you and so many others are like, well, they just shouldn't do it that way. And it's like, well, what else are they going to give someone for $42,000? Tell me.
They shouldn't be
What are they
asking
gonna
for $42,000.
They're not.
That's the whole
They're making
thing.
your game for you. Like,
That's-
that's how they fund the game. If they didn't do it, they wouldn't be able to make the game because no publisher would ever allow them to spend that much money on things that a publisher would say don't matter. This is the only way this game can exist, and there is no video game company that you can compare it to that has done what they are doing without doing it this way. Because
I disagree. There's plenty of games that have done it without.
Literally
doing this
doesn't
kind of thing.
exist.
No
There's
Man's
such a genre.
Sky. No Man's Sky is 90 is
not
better than Star Citizen right
It is
now,
not.
and it's a one-time payment.
Oh my god, dude.
Like, this is crazy. It's just weird. It feels weird to me that they do the shop. That's my opinion on it.
Yes,
Feels
but
bad.
it's a very
I want them to
limited.
succeed, but I don't want them to do that. I don't know. I don't know.
You're
what to tell
looking
you.
through a tiny little hole, and you're not
am-
looking at the whole picture.
I feel like for me, I am. I feel like I'm looking at a pretty good picture, but that's just my perspective on it. You know?
Hi Nat, how you doing?
You guys done?
Time to Star
Never.
Citizen ends.
Cool.
Now, what else have you been playing?
Oh no, I'm done. I don't
He hasn't played.
I don't
anything
have any
else.
more for y'all tonight. No, I'm done.
Oh, just the wind blown in the Star Citizen?
No. I'm done. Fun, but enjoy. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Oh, he's saying
Audience, appreciate
Oh, he's
you.
out. He's out. He's like, no, we're done. We're out.
We're done. We're done.
Yes.
I'll talk to you guys later. Audience, it has been a pleasure. I will catch you guys on the flip side.
bye. All right.
That
Bye.
we'll see you in the next episode.